Welcome back. Hopefully, you all had something to eat, and now your minds are ready to feed as well as we return for another one of these talks. And this time, support or not to support? That's the question, a question that hopefully Ray Bogman has the answer to.
Thanks, everybody. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. First of all, I would like to thank the organization for hosting this great event and giving the opportunity for speaking at this great event. Today, I would like to share a story on customer support on our Adobe Commerce Cloud and how we at Adobe manage this on a day-to-day basis. Before I kick it off, let me do a quick introduction. My name is Ray Bogman. I'm a senior global software support manager Commerce Cloud software engineering team. And my focus is making sure we are delivering the best product and support into the market to our customers. I've been a part of the Magento community as of the beta in 2008 and supporting the product since for the last 14 years. Let me briefly share what the agenda looks like today. A brief overview on the history of customer support. Next up is a peek in the Adobe Customer Support Engineering Kitchen and how we manage operations, followed by customer support trends, and to wrap things up, what the future holds on automation. So have you ever wondered where it all began? Well, I did, to be honest. While scrolling the internet, I came across some interesting facts. So let me do a quick summary instead of giving a 1-hour lecture on history. Well, actually, it all started around 3000 BC. Humans were setting on a long missions, and you probably guessed, they had some great ideas on how to treat customers and meet their needs with custom products and the use of marketing techniques. But let's fast forward, a couple of thousand years, and we find ourselves in the 1700s, where our most relevant support use cases truly actually begins. It started more or less with Alexander Bell patents the electricity phone, enabling customer services to take a step forward. By using the phone, customers could avoid the need of travel long distance for product information or repairs. AT&T, they introduced the 1-800 number, I guess known by any, around 1976. This presented the fastest and the most cost-efficient way for customers to communicate with companies on their choice regarding certain products or services. In 1983, the term call center got created. And that more or less paved the way on the future for the internet. So in the early 90s, the internet was made available to the world, meaning that customers could use the new challenge for interacting with companies. And by the end of 1996, the internet and instant messages allowed businesses to communicate with customers via email or one-on-one chat. Feels like an age already, I can imagine. But in the early 2000s, companies began using specialized customer support software that gradually replaced help desk solution and that formed the modern CRM systems. Quick forward on the rise on social media. So at the same time, the percentages of customers using social media as a channel for customer support is also on the rise. Actually, according to a 2014 report used by HubSpot, customers really rely on social media for customer services as well as brand communication. When going into mobile in 2014, companies needed to be able to provide customer service through a variety of mediums in order to meet their customer needs and expectations. One of those numerous mediums, as we all know now, is presented by a dedicated mobile app. That allowed customers to access important information that they needed from companies, along with self-service functionality that helped them find and use resources on their smartphone. So my question is, what is the future of customer support going to look like? Well, I will let you decide, on what's coming next. Let me dive a little bit deeper on a really interesting use case, and then we start diving a little bit more on some of the specifics there. One of the unique things in history that teaches us is that we can learn from it. It's all about support or not to support. That's the question. So let me share you a true story on what happened to me in 2015. The story is about McGregor, a well-known fashion brand, back in the day located and managed out of Germany, servicing most European countries. The company just split their business activities and onboarded new stakeholders. the main question they had that asked me is like, could you help us maintain the current infrastructure for the time being before we move over or upgrade to a new hosting provider? Keep in mind, this was around end of summer, and we were already preparing for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, like most of us do, I guess. I told them, let's do an audit first before we start messaging this. Well, if I knew what I signed up for, I may have considered twice, to be exact. More than 15 years, and this was back 2015, I never ever came across something like this. Actually, this was a state-of-the-art virtualization setup, but it was never ever maintained and located at a data center somewhere in Germany and hosted on bare metal. I guess those were the days, of course, before cloud. It was that bad that if a single server would crash, everything would go down. So you can imagine it will never see the light of day again. That was pretty bad. So actually, what was the issue? Well, when reviewing, I detected that all boot partitions were fully maxed out, 100% full disk. A kernel fix on production was needed to clean up boot partitions and to safely reboot every server one by one. And once rebooted, we could start with the rest of all the maintenance. This process was very scary, you can imagine. One error, and it would be out of business. And did I mention that there was no maintenance done ever before? Everything was out of date, from the operation system to the packages, and even through the Magento instance that they had running, which was the most crucial, of course, from the business standpoint. And before I forget, there was no backup, none at all, no snapshots, no TARs, nothing, not at all. So normally I don't like to name brands and put them in the wall of shame. But this is something that really stood out of scope for regular support, to my understanding. Luckily, I was able to manage and fix it. But as you can agree, this is not something that everybody would like to do. So my question would be, do you agree? Is this something that we should support or not to support? Let me know, please, in the comments. Now, fast forward, let me shine a little bit on the things that we actually do in a much better case, of course, at Adobe, at our customer support engineering desk. Like customer support, or as we call it, customer first, it's to the next level. So let me start sharing the story on Adobe Commerce Support Engineering Organization looks like. At Adobe, we support our merchants 24/7, 365 days a year across the globe, and have offices from Sydney to Los Angeles. The ticket journey starts off with either a merchant submitting a case or we detecting it, proactively, of course. When our L1 engineers or Premier engineers triage the case and they fix it, it's roughly speaking 85-90% of the cases, which is really good. And we are pretty proud about that. In some cases, we have two L2 engineers that need to review, and when it comes to providing patches or unique cases for specific merchant issues. These patches, they can be provided on a single use case or global using a quality patch tool for all merchants. But when it comes down to improvements back to the core codes, we have L3 engineers creating those improvements. But before I forget, all this work would not be possible with, of course, the great support of all the engineers managing our cloud operations, knowledge base writers, project managers, and quality engineers. It takes almost 250 people of an amazing crew to manage this and making our merchants happy. And that will lead to happy buyers across the globe using our Adobe Commerce software, which is pretty important, as you can imagine. Otherwise, nobody would be buying online. So managing a hosting infrastructure at Adobe Commerce can be challenging at some times. This way, Adobe provides a PaaS solution for our cloud merchants, a fully managed Git-driven environment, so all merchants only need to focus on the Adobe Commerce code application and let us manage the infrastructure. So with that, let me share some of the high-level technical platform diagrams. Actually, at Adobe Commerce Cloud, we are hosting actually two flavors. First up is Azure. That will provide a non-split environment for small to medium-large needs and a split architecture for the larger enterprises. All environments use 3 availability zones located across the regions of choice. The main big difference between the split and the non-split is that with split, we actually have a dedicated backend cluster for our database, Redis, Elastic Search, and that also has the ability to have a horizontal scalable front end. The second flavor we support is AWS Amazon. The only difference between the AWS and Azure actually is that we provide on the backend a Clara database. But when it comes to supporting the Adobe Experience Manager, Adobe's finest CMS system, a content management system, we are truly using the best of both worlds. AEM and Adobe Commerce are connecting using GraphQL APIs. So this is also known, as you can imagine, as a headless infrastructure using best of both. But keep in mind, using the latest technology is, of course, key for us. That's why we are currently onboarding some of the merchants using our AWS and native services. Using AWS managed components will help with scalability and performance needs our merchants are looking for. Managing infrastructure and merchant cases would not be possible, of course, without the use of a solid process. Process is actually key in our line of business. Customer support is about supporting our Adobe Commerce customers in the best way possible. On the previous organization slide, we have seen a high-level overview of that ticket journey. The flow diagram will share a bit more detail on what the process looks like and will be reviewed on a regular basis and optimized where needed depending on our customer and engineering needs. The process shows a flow from Zendesk going into Jira and going into the L1, L2, or 3 engineers. Overall, it's a very complex process, as you can see, and managing that takes a lot of effort, of course, overlapping with multiple teams and making it most efficient. I assume we all can agree that without a proper strategy, everything would be in vanity. Well, at Adobe, we believe in 3 work stream strategy to service our customers at the best level possible. First, we have supporting customers using self-help, consolidating self-help into, for instance, the Experience League platform and launch new digital experience support portals that self-help deflecting capabilities. Secondly, is enabling customers and response issues through self-service. That system insight engine will enable to self-manage most frequent issues easily. I will go deeper into that a little bit later. And thirdly, providing automation experience through self-healing. And this is pretty cutting edge. So using the observability framework for self-healing capabilities. Adobe Digital Experience has undergone a tremendous journey in the last few years in bringing our product solutions together. This will enable great customer experience by getting our customers the help they need quickly and most efficiently, of course. In turn, this will enable our support teams to focus on quality and, most important, the issue itself. Finally, when merchants love the power and flexibility of Adobe Commerce, we hear extensive feedback about the need of lighting core releases. That will reduce the effort associated with maintenance. That lowers down the overall total cost of ownership. So we continue to make it faster and cheaper to perform regular upgrades. And the monolith releases will deliver security, compliance, plus critical quality or performance updates. Next, for that matter, we will make the use of the quality patch tool more essential for core changes, including even community contributions outside of the regular upgraded process. And as a result of decoupling all those other developments from the core, we were able to streamline our core releases much more efficiently. So what about trends that we see? Interesting is that I've seen and read a customer support study, which was done actually by Intercom, and that shows 5 interesting trends that relate to customer support done in 2022. Support leaders across the globe have shared some solid insights on what customer support needs, but most of all, what the future to become. So let me quickly share a quick summary on that report. Customer expectation widens the gap. Personalization is key, speed is of an essence, and interesting hiring and maintaining talent is crucial. Support team agility is no longer optional, increasing the workflow efficiency, getting a virtual hand from automation, and providing the right training and support for our teams. The need for connecting tech stack escalated. Consolidating your tech stack with an all-in-one platform, choosing flexible tools that grow with your team, enhance the capabilities with connecting integrations. Support leaders, they also need to fight against burnout and attrition. Providing the correct support systems that provide employees from well-being, of course. Investing in boosting salaries and helping employees progress. Leveraging modern technology to reduce pressure in a support role, for example, chatbots, proactive behavior, or self-service support. And to wrap it up, lastly but not least, customer empathy. And maybe this is more important than ever. Empathy means respecting our customers' times, having contextual support and empathetic support. Let me give an example on that. If a customer, would be trying to purchase an item online on one of our Adobe Commerce stores, but their payment would fail, now we can send a trigger automatically with a pop-up message that exactly helps them to provide and troubleshoot the issue. And of course, empathy starts, of course, with the team. So with that, let us have a quick look on what the automation future will look like and some of the things and trends we just seen and learned, how that could benefit, of course, support and supporting our merchants from a technical and business perspective. Well, within Adobe Commerce Customer Support, we created a system-wide analysis tool, also known as SWOT, which gives customers insights into their current state of operations, such as customer service versions, what upgrades are required, and what path they need to take to self-resolve operational issues. So let me show you a high-level overview on what SWOT actually does.
Often, Adobe Commerce receives requests from a customer asking for site best practice, suggestions for configuration, ideas for performance improvement, how to increase site speed, what the logs mean, and more. For each of these requests, a support ticket is created. However, frequently the customer attempts different configurations, implements custom modules, pushes a deployment, or makes other business and functional changes. All of these actions affect the site's health, and this requires the customer to create extra support tickets to verify the site's health and stability, explain what's wrong, or just request a fix. Hey, wouldn't it be great if there was a more efficient way to check Adobe Commerce site health and get all the recommendations all at once? Well, yes, there is. It's called a site-wide analysis tool, and it's totally free, by the way. It's a tool developed to perform an end-to-end analysis of a customer's site and generate a report with the results. A site-wide analysis tool generates a PDF created exclusively for the Adobe Commerce Cloud customer, containing the site end-to-end findings consisting of the issues found and the associated follow-up recommendations. Included in the site-wide analysis tool report's findings are the site's health, performance, and configuration at a specific point in time. The customer then reviews the delivered report, is responsible for understanding the findings, and executing the prescribed recommendations. However, if a specific finding requires Adobe support help, the customer simply opens a new support ticket, one for each specific issue in question, and of course references the original delivered report support ticket.
I hope that shares a little bit of a detail on what SWOT actually is. With that current version of SWOT available, we are not done yet, as you can imagine. there are still a lot of automation improvements to be made and shared with our merchants, of course. So what does the future of SWOT and automation look like from an Adobe standpoint? Well, on the short term, we would like to do some recovering and redesign of the dashboard, make it more appealing, access more support tools, providing more integration and other system integration scans. On the midterm, have the ability to have a dashboard search and a knowledge-based search within the system, which makes it much more easier, of course, for our merchants to use the content, but also get recommendations on particular issue within the content. But on the longer stretch, and this is also interesting, is have an active chatbot, maybe even creating automatic ticket creation and actionable tasks. So let me share an example how that would look like. The new dashboard we have is a full self-service overview. It's like a one-stop support dashboard. All support needs all in one place, from onboarding to upgrade assistance, from health scores to other reports, and live chats to automate proactive ticket creation. And with that, as you can imagine, launching new products is really important. So launching them is now much easier with the support of SWOT. Early in the process, we detect issues during development. Process helps merchants to fix that even before they go live. This has a positive impact, not only both for, of course, the merchant, but also our engineers. And finding consensus on what best practices are for product versus support teams are now available with just a click of a button. Over here, we see a recommendation list and priority severity. So let me kick off with a quick demo on the SWOT Insights dashboard.
Welcome. The site-wide analysis tool is a central repository that provides a single pane of glass view of our support tools. It will allow you to get real-time access to all system insights, proactive steps to resolve any site problems, and monitor overall site health. To get access to the SWOT dashboard, go to your Magento admin panel page. Accept the terms and conditions. On the dashboard, you will find access to support tools such as the Upgrade Compatibility tool, Security Scan tool, Best Practice Recommendations, and Managed Alerts. Recommendations. With 24/7 site monitoring, the tool can scan the site for performance, stability, and security issues. The Upgrade Compatibility tool checks an Adobe Commerce instance against the latest version of Commerce. It returns a list of critical issues that must be addressed before upgrading to the latest version of Adobe Commerce. The Security Scan tool provides Adobe Commerce customers with real-time insights into the security status of their store by proactively detecting malware and notifying them if their store is compromised. You can also access other support resources from this widget, such as the Information and Extension tabs. The Quality Patches tool lists all the currently available patches. This feature makes it easier to locate the right patches to fix known issues. Originally, the site-wide analysis tool was only available for cloud customers, but we are excited to announce that we have expanded its availability to all Adobe Commerce customers hosted on-prem as well. Our goal is to help you create better commerce experiences for your customers, and we believe that with the help of the site-wide analysis tool and all the other support tools that we offer, you will be able to give your customers the best experience possible.
I hope you like this SWOT demo and what kind of great tooling our engineers have created. Hold on. So now let's have a closer look on some of the upcoming features and opportunities. How cool would it be in a case a merchant reports a P1 issue, and when qualified by an L1 engineer, automatically a Slack channel gets created and
and on top, depending on the issue,
automatic recommendations are being shared, knowledge-based, runbooks, wiki, etc. And using that Slack channel to update the tickets so engineers can stay as much in one communication system. And when the issue is resolved, the channel automatically gets removed. How cool would that be? I would love to hear your feedback in the comment section. Every vision starts, of course, with an idea. And that value would it bring if we could build an automation framework that could triggers at once? How cool would that be? Well, I am pretty cool and happy, that we are creating that. So we all can imagine having unlimited triggers and events happening throughout the day. Those will never stop. By controlling and routing them to any system that would benefit from that would be groundbreaking when it comes to support. To support that idea, Adobe has chosen to build an automatic framework to manage such tasks. All triggers and events will be managed using an open source system called StackStorm. It's a rule engine that connects events and triggers to the appropriate APIs for any action task. So let me do a quick introduction on actually what StackStorm does.
StackStorm is an event-driven automation platform used in a variety of scenarios, including auto remediation, security event handling, and infrastructure automation. For example, if you have a security appliance at the edge of your infrastructure inspecting packets for anomalies, it could alert Sensu of potential bad actors. A StackStorm workflow can take action on this information and provision the security appliance to ignore future packets from that sender. To extract a wide variety of tasks, including the one we just looked at, StackStorm employs a few key primitives. Those primitives are sensors, rules, and actions. A sensor looks at events either directly from an event producer, such as the security appliance we saw earlier, or through existing monitoring tools like Nagios or Sensu. An action is an operation StackStorm can take within your environment. It can be a simple atomic task, like submitting a REST request to an API, or a more complex workflow consisting of multiple actions and decision tree logic. Rules tie these sensors and tasks together. You configure rules in an if-this, then-that type of logic. For instance, in our security appliance example, our rule would be configured so that if Sensu receives a bad actor notice, StackStorm should run a workflow to add that bad actor to a blocked list. You might be thinking, this is great, but do I have to build all of these integrations? The simple answer is no. StackStorm has a community of contributors that have helped grow the StackStorm Exchange to over 100 different integrations. You can find these integrations at exchange.stackstorm.org.
Isn't it amazing the possibility StackStorm shows and provides? And using this support for our merchants, you can imagine the options would be endless. So let me share some of the ideas that we have when building this automation framework. The matrix shows the ideas that we are working on, but the official list is, of course, endless. So for now, let me close off. There's a lot of information that have we shared on what Adobe customer support engineering team currently is working on. Interesting is that the overall impact on automation has on the organization is massive. When reviewing the numbers of Q1 this year, we concluded that in total, we saved almost a little bit over 900 hours in customer efficiency. We saved a bit on 8+ full-time employees, almost 1,500 hours of work, and avoided, and this is really interesting, 1,900 tickets. So the direct impact, the overall customer score must be really crucial. And we love to see our customers happy, of course, as you can imagine. So let me wrap up the presentation and let me leave you with some of the takeaways that we just seen and heard. The most important takeaway that I would like to share is customer first. Next up is team. And lastly, but definitely not least, automation, as we have seen. So there's a lot of things that we are working on and making sure that all the merchants that we support are in the best shape possible, but also includes our team that support that in the creation on automation. So in case you like the things that we've seen and we just shared, well, actually we are hiring. So if you are a leader, you're creative and really focused and like to join the customer support engineering team and build together the future of automation, well, sign up right now. We have many positions open across the globe. Let me know, DM me, or use my social media handler for that. So for now, I would like to open the time for Q&A. So let me know if there's any kind of questions that I answer right now.
Okay, thank you, Ray. That was wonderful. Great to get some insights on the customer service side of things. So for those wondering, the Q&A, there is a tab on your right. You can click there. You can ask any questions right now. You were worried at first, weren't you, that you wouldn't be able to condense it? But it seems like you actually cruised on through.
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess maybe to try and like warm things up, I'm trying to figure off the top of my head. I guess it's kind of a case of like how flexible these sort of systems that you've got in place with Adobe, for example, to smaller, like medium-sized platforms. Is it something that's easily like adjustable depending on the scale, or do you think it takes a lot of initial effort to put those systems in place?
You mean the automation framework?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it supports all the small, but also the larger enterprise clients that we support. I mean, with the use of API, we have unlimited flexibility within the network itself, of course.
Okay.
Really easy.
I'm glad to hear that. Like it's kind of awkward because obviously some companies that they already have that kind of huge support base, they can easily manage huge clienteles. But it's nice to hear the system is scalable because in this day and age, you get these small companies that come out of nowhere, they boom overnight, and all of a sudden they can't necessarily keep up with demand. So
Yeah,
it's pretty
correct.
helpful to see those systems are in place.
Yeah, our focus definitely at Adobe is making everything scalable. Doesn't really matter if it's small or large. Everything needs to be as scalable as possible, supporting that on the most flexible layer possible.
I guess that makes sense with like the shift towards a subscription base compared to what Adobe used to be. It's just of critical importance to make sure, right? That's kind of where I think the wider market's going, right? To
Yeah.
products on demand, essentially.
It is actually, yeah.
Okay, I'm not really seeing any Q&A coming up, but I guess like you're pretty solid in delivering what people were expecting there. So I guess unless you've got anything additional you want to add, we can round this out a little bit earlier than usual.
Just let me know. You guys will provide the slides that I created, and if there's any needs, just give me a shout on LinkedIn or my, and I'm able to support wherever needed.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Well, thank you, Ray. It has been an absolute pleasure. Let's round this one out. Folks, do hang around. I think it's going to be from now about 15 minutes. We should be on with our next one, which could be level up your DevOps with GitHub Actions and Kubernetes. So hang around and we'll be back soon.